So something strange happened recently. I don't know if YouTube's algorithm broke a bit or people just really like Rayman, but this channel kinda exploded. And with all the new faces comes an influx of cool new ideas to shine a spotlight on. Today's Peasant's Perspective is gonna focus on Smash Bros. Character concepts. And I know what you're thinking. Duke, characters are complicated. How are you gonna highlight a bunch of those in 5 minutes? And it's a good question. So here's how it's gonna work. For each of these concepts, I'm only going to highlight one thing, my favorite thing about them. The actual comments will be up on screen, so if you want to read them in their entirety, you can pause and do so. But to keep things concise, I'm going to pick and choose verbally. I want to give everyone a fair shot at the spotlight, and I feel like this is the best way to do so. Let's begin. Pascal brings the Knight from Hollow Knight to the table, a character that I personally feel would translate excellently into Smash Bros. What really interests me about this concept is the Soul Meter. See, in Hollow Knight, the only way to get mana, or soul as it's called here, is to attack, to hit your enemies. The spells you can cast are extremely powerful, but to use them, you've got to put yourself at risk first. I could see this resulting in a very fun character to use, aggressively slicing at your foes to charge the spells that will finish them off. Rafael Lopez suggests the evolutions. Similar to Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings, each alternate color is a different evolution. Flareon, Umbreon, Sylveon, they're all here. But unlike the Koopalings, the evolutions each play a little differently from each other. Essentially, it's a set of 8 Echo Fighters. I don't know how possible this would be, as that would be a lot of work, and the body types of these Pokemon do vary to the point that the movesets couldn't quite be one-to-one, but it is very fun to imagine. If they could pull it off, I would be so down for this. Chatterbox has gone a little off the reservation to make a case for the Just Dance dancer. Before you say it, yes, I know, I agree, but hear him out. This character would be to dancing what Wii Fit Trainer is to yoga, beating the snot out of Nintendo characters by, very literally, dancing on their graves. It's very weird, but I gotta say, this would be fun. Especially since Chatter suggests taking the special moves from dances that appear in Nintendo games. And you can't deny how fun some of those references could be. I have already talked about Waluigi a lot, but the lovely thing about him is that you can make dozens of movesets, and they all kinda fit. There's the idea that Pyric Kong had, where Waluigi tries to copy the moves of other fighters but does them poorly.
Now come back, Boomerang.
To this beauty by Freeform Jazz. Just, holy crap, dude, this is beautiful. 17 well-organized pages of brilliance. I'm throwing a link to this document in the description, so please give it a read. It's so good. Next, we have a Fire Emblem character. Yay! But don't worry guys, it's Hector, coming from 2 contributors. First is Maragash, with his down special, Counter. Yeah, I know, but this one is actually really cool. In Blazing Sword, Hector can use hand axes to give himself some range, so Maragash suggests making his down special the hand axe, a ranged counter. I like to imagine that this still causes Hector to take damage and he just doesn't care. Just charge shot to the face, unflinching, chucks an axe right back. But if you don't like counters, Windy Aura has an idea for a bulk up kind of move. Decrease your speed but give yourself some hefty super armor. Hector is notoriously powerful in Blazing Sword. He reaches a point where attacks just stop damaging him. But back in these days, Fire Emblem characters didn't dodge attacks when said attack does no damage. They just stood there, spears in their chest without a care in the world. And I feel like this would be a great callback to those glorious days. I think we have time for one more, and I specifically saved Firelord 510s for last. This is a character concept that I love just for the sheer absurdity of it. The controller. Just a bunch of generic Nintendo controllers. Whacking people with joysticks, whipping them with their cords, shooting buttons out for projectiles, and just being absurd in general. I love it. If this were DLC, I would buy it in a heartbeat. And that's gonna wrap up this episode. Thanks to those who contributed their ideas, and for those that didn't get featured, there is always next time. So keep coming up with cool ideas, and maybe you'll see one of them in the next episode. I'll see you then!